Namaste everybody. Welcome to another special episode in our series of understanding Vedic philosophy, where there is a beautiful intersection of science and spirituality alongside. We are once again joined by our beloved Dr. Nagendra sir, who is our spiritual mentor, our guide, a Vedic philosopher and a medical doctor. Thank you so much for joining us once again, doctor. Welcome to the show. Well, viewers, today I am very excited to share the topic that we are going to discuss with Doctor today. It's about emotions. We all know that emotions like peace, joy, harmony, gratitude, love has some sort of a deeper essence, or in spiritual context we all know that it holds a deeper influence on all of us. And as a therapist, I keep telling my therapy clients that these emotions hold a specific frequency. They resonate with a specific energy, where the lower energies drain us and the higher energies like love, peace, harmony or gratitude help us to heal faster. But let's try to understand this today from a spiritual context. Doctor, as you've already understood, the topic is about emotions today. So from the Vedic view, is there a framework within which we can align these emotions to understand consciousness or awareness at a deeper level?
Definitely. Namaste all.
Yeah.
What we understand by emotion today is, generally it is my reaction to something.
Yeah.
Then first we need to understand the Veda as a knowledge always goes with the action, not with the reaction.
Okay.
We should be always emphasizing ourselves on the action.
Right.
What comes from here. Reaction is something happens outside and then there is a bounce back.
True.
This is the first essence.
Beautiful.
Explicitly Veda doesn't say about that. As a scripture it doesn't, because these are understood when we say it's a Vedic knowledge or we say Veda. It means somebody who has surpassed all these emotions and then he has gone to the level where he will have control on his mind, emotion and the body. Anna, Prana, Mana and above that. Like in the Brahma Sutra, that is one by Bhagavan Vedavyasa, where he writes, Athato Brahma Jijnasa. The entire Veda is meant for to understand the essence of the Brahma itself.
Wow.
So, it's not their immediate responsibility to tell what is the emotion or what you need to do on a routine day.
Okay. Got
So,
it.
that's in a totally different level.
Okay.
But they don't undermine that what we need to do on a daily practice, Nitya Karma.
Right.
Both are equally important. But we need to understand, because otherwise we see that
True.
Veda is something like a moral science textbook. No. You become morally correct, you are right, and then you follow, you have a control on all your emotion, and then there's a further steps. That's where we call it as a Vedic science.
Right.
Okay, coming back to our question, definitely it has got relevance in the Veda spirituality, because we have seen that many rishis, they become angry and there is an aspect of curse or shapa.
Correct.
And then some of them there is a tapobhanga and then they get intimate with the apsara stri.
Correct.
And then there is a child. These are the, even in Puranas and even Upanishads also, is quite common. So that's where the conflict comes in.
Yeah.
Not just what I am representing an emotion or anything.
Okay.
We'll try to look at the bigger picture of it, rather than trying to say only whether emotion is good or bad.
Fine.
So to understand that, we need to go one step backwards, saying that what is this emotion we are talking about.
Yeah.
So we have seen previously that there is Anna, Prana, Mana. In the evolutionary stage we are, there is a physical body and there is a Pranamaya Kosha, which is a vital body, and then Manomaya, Manas. The physical body is an instrument outside where which is used. Manas is mainly for the knowledge gathering through Panchendriya and then its processing and then action.
Right.
Manas includes a buddhi and then other aspect of it.
Yeah.
So now this is the Pranamaya Kosha, which we are more relating with the emotion. When we like someone, we say Pancha Prana.
Correct.
Okay. That's where we see that emotion is mostly, it's not exclusively for that.
Okay. Got it.
Predominantly it is the prana which it is getting experienced or the expressed as emotion. When we say, that's why we say when there is an emotional imbalance, then we go with the BP is increased.
Yeah.
Or you get angry. So BP increase is actually physical aspect.
Yeah.
Then you get angry is an emotion as a prana. Then you cannot think.
Yeah.
Then the manas is also, there is an affect.
Yeah.
So if we understand this Anna, Prana, Mana, then we can say exactly where is this is coming from.
Okay.
So if you have a good control on the manas, and then the intellect, which say don't get angry, then there is the emotion will not express out. We can hold the emotions.
True.
We can control the emotions.
Okay.
Okay, that's the source of emotion. That's where we say do pranayama, and then for the mind control, meditation or the dhyana, dhyana. We had an episode on the dhyana also.
True. Yeah.
Coming to today's, with this background, we come to today's question.
Yes.
Because without that, it becomes too vague.
Yes.
Whether these emotions have got hierarchy by themselves.
Absolutely.
Whether something love and peace is very high,
Yeah.
then angry and then the disgust
Dense,
is lower
yes.
level. No, definitely not.
Okay.
So all these are emotions or distortion of the balance state of the prana, then manas.
Okay.
Either you take it up or down. That's a distortion.
True.
The whole idea of the yoga sadhana is the balancing both.
Yeah.
We need both, but as my instrument. Emotion should be my instrument, either for learning or expressing.
Right.
Now we take any example. So we'll start with the negative. The anger. Is it good or bad? So generally it is the anger is bad.
Yeah.
But when you have to get it done something, for example, a mother with a child.
Yes.
So she will show the anger
True.
with the full control so that the baby is in the right path.
Correct.
So it helps it. The anger becomes your instrument and it is useful.
Correct.
Or in a workplace, there is a manager and then the floor worker. Now if you don't make that impose the work with the kind of anger, it doesn't happen.
True.
That is in the most external form. If somebody is self-motivated, you don't have to do anything.
Correct.
That's not the real picture actually outside, because you need to see. There if the mother only says, okay, no my child, I only give you love, then you do whatever you want, what happens to the child? We see the other side of the love,
Correct.
which is always good and we take it as a higher, then being calm becomes your weakness.
True.
Anything that is not in your control or not relevant for that context is lower or higher, not the emotion by itself. The intent behind the emotion, the first step, and then whether it is in my control or not, this decides whether the emotion is at the lower conscious level or the higher conscious level.
So the intent is the key word here.
Exactly. So intent is whether I want to hurt you or I want to please you.
Right.
Or I want to show the supremacy.
Or
I want
pretense
to, yes,
sometimes.
pretense. Yes, deceiving you.
Yeah.
Deceiving you, then I can behave very well.
Yeah.
So I can show very peaceful and then with a full smiling face.
Yes.
Doesn't help anything for the individual.
Correct.
Outside it may be slightly, they may feel good or they may not. Or for the individual, from the spiritual growth point of view, that is actually a fall.
Absolutely.
So this is where we are seeing
Okay.
the aspect of the intent with which the emotion comes out, and whether the emotion is in my control, whether I am able to control the emotion. I express anger and then stop whenever I want.
So how do we see this aspect of control if somebody is chronically in that lower state because of the imbalanced aspect that you just discussed? So how do we bring it back? How do we align? How do we come back to that harmony then?
First is if they are able to understand, depends on the level of understanding.
Okay.
What we call it the ignorance. The moment from the evolution point of view, there is an ignorance. From there, the knowledge is rising up.
Right.
We know in the medical
discussed.
profession, the healer, we know that somebody is still not in that level to understand about the self or all the spiritual aspect. Definitely they are not in the league at all.
Yeah.
Then don't try to impose. Then try to give them the assurance that, so is it actually helping you? Do you feel good after this emotion? There is an emotion outburst.
Correct.
After that emotion outburst, whether it's a love or anger, do you really feel good about what you did, or is there an element of repentance? Did you feel that, okay, I did something wrong? So if you're happy with that, continue for some more time. Don't stop immediately, because that emotion has not reached its ultimate saturation level.
Correct.
If you cut short,
Yes.
it will express as something like a physical ailment
True.
or something else,
Yeah.
or something with emotional going to the mental illness.
Correct.
So you are actually triggering a problem. Let them express.
True.
That's why many of the times if there is a death at home and somebody is nearby, then we'll say just cry loud so that let it come
Vent it
out.
out, yes.
It's a thing for general term,
Yeah.
but not necessarily. It's not going to help anyone. But if you hold it back, if you don't have the capacity to accept the death as a reality, and this is another opening door for that individual and for this also. If somebody can take up this as a jnana and then take it, for them it is okay. Now, for the individual, we need to say if you are able to understand the emotion, then try to come out of it. If not, then try to reduce the severity in such a way that it doesn't harm others first outside, then it doesn't harm yourself also. Then we can objectively show, because of your all these emotions, which we call it as lower emotions, you get acidity or your BP is increased, or you will get stressed out, or your decision making is coming down, the kind of relationship is getting harmed. Then we can give all this objectively from the physical level, we can show them and then put a goal towards that. Now you improve on these things, you see your blood pressure will reduce.
Yeah.
Now you, like somebody shouts at the workplace, you say that you work on this emotion of anger, then we'll check your blood pressure every alternate day. You will see that there is a definite decrease even without medication. That's a very good way of helping them in both ways, the expression and the emotion.
Yes. Is there anything as a spiritual practice or from the Vedic context which can help us to be in that absolute alignment or harmony? Like, is there any chant or some prayers to the deity or the Vedic gods or energies where we can connect to, which can help us to understand this or experience this at a deeper level? Though you told me that there is no direct connect to understand this as such, but I'm sure with your experience of exploring it, you would have explored deeper peace and joy and contentment by experiencing or studying, or you have been leaving Veda in Sakshi. That is the major difference that we have seen, that preaching or teaching and practicing, they are different dimensions. But as somebody who's been living through it, are there any specific areas of understanding Veda where you have felt deeper compassion, deeper love, deeper peace, which can help viewers as well?
See, the whole purpose is bringing it into the harmony, in that balanced state. And this is a continuous process. It's not a target. So, emotion is one such.
Correct.
Now, I try to, if I have emotion is slightly non-physical. Now, if you see that I'm slightly weak, physically weak, I'm not able to run 2 kilometers. What do? Increase your input of the nutrition. And then work out on the endurance.
True.
So this is very simple, it's very easy to understand. Now same thing you follow when it comes to the emotion. Now you see, when it comes to input what it is, there you need to reduce, and output also reduce. Input is what? Don't react immediately. You see, there are laughter therapy and many such therapies. Everything is based on wait for the small moment, few seconds. To start with, anything, that's a reaction and action difference.
Correct.
When something comes, you throw the ball on the wall, it hits back immediately. That's a reaction.
Correct.
That is the aspect of the inertia. We are not wall, we are not object.
True.
It goes, then there is an assimilation part. You think, take that aspect into the level of the mind, intellect, and then answer. So it takes maybe 1 or 2 seconds. Then there is an action, not a reaction. This is the first step. But to continue to do that, we can see the direct relation with the pranayama.
Okay.
What happens whenever I get excited with anger or with whatever the positive or negative emotion, the breathing becomes abnormal.
Correct.
Why? Because the way I am throwing out using my energy is not efficient way. That we can easily make out with the breathing. So then we should work on the breathing also.
Right.
This pranayama is a most beautiful one. Any of the pranayama which you feel comfortable, of course under the guidance of somebody who is a professional, because there are aspects which you should not do during pranayama, which can have a physical harm also. General pranayama is okay. Now when you start doing that, whenever there is such an emotional outburst, you will be knowing at least a fraction of a second before that it's going to outburst. Now you concentrate on your breathing. The most outside or the expression of the prana is the breathing, the breath.
Right.
So if you control the breath, immediately it goes to the balanced state.
Okay.
That we recommend to do it every morning. Do some physical exercise for some time, pranayama for some time, and then meditation for some time. Maybe
Right.
10-15 minutes for each. Within 45 minutes in the morning, if you can do that, this is how the first step goes on.
Right.
But there are other aspects to that. If you are already gone past through that, still you are finding it difficult.
Yeah.
Then beyond these three, try to identify yourself.
Hmm.
Now we are getting into the Vedic knowledge.
Yeah.
Now you understand yourself and you know that the same self here is also there. So now whom are you angry about? Whom
Yes.
are you actually blaming? The
Wow.
self here and the self here comes from the highest self. This is what
Right.
we say when it comes as Vasudeva Kutumbakam.
Right.
Or you say Sarvam Kalavidam Brahma. When you say that, then you will know the self here is self also there. We are all in the same level of it at the creation. Then there is no point in actually hatred, or there is no point in anger.
Yeah.
Then automatically it brings in,
Yes.
and all this exercise which you did becomes very simple.
Yes.
So that's how Veda looks
Wow.
at it.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Doctor, for reminding us that understanding emotions is not just psychological, but it's rather a path to attain our inner peace through the methods that you just explained. Thank you so much, and we will be looking forward for more insights from you in the future episodes. Thank you, viewers, for your support and encouragement. Do let us know if you'd like to explore more topics in Vedic philosophy. And if you have any doubts in this context, do not hesitate to comment below. And please do not forget to subscribe to our channel. I'll meet you again in the next episode. Thank you so much for watching. Namaste. Thank you, Doctor.